Atheism. Atheism. The definition of theism is the belief in the existence of supreme beings or deities. Isn't it funny that the word atheism itself kind of revolves around this? Okay, I'm on an article by American atheists, and they say, to be clear, atheism is not a disbelief in gods or a denial of gods. It is a lack of belief in gods. It's kind of the same thing as saying there is no God and saying I don't believe in God. Both have the word God in them. But I get the meaning, alright? I get it. To put it in a more humorous way, if atheism is a religion, then not collecting stamps is a hobby. That is funny. No, I'm not laughing, I'm laughing inside. Yes, not collecting stamps is a hobby, but you can only say that when there are hobbies of collecting stamps. You can say there are no swans, but for you to even know the word swan, there must be a swan somewhere. Do you think humans really created this whole word God? Because in my experience, my natural tendency is to reject God. I was born rebellious to God. I was born wanting to be my own God. Why on earth would I invent a God in authority over me who I am subjected to? Like, it almost sounds very like slaves. You know, the faith I have is so different from other religions and faiths. How? Why? Because of the kind of God. This God, he is so loving, but he's also so sometimes aggressive. If you push him past the point, he gets really, really mad. But his love, his standards, and the way he deals with people, the way he deals with me, is so gentle. At the same time, he's this holy God. I don't find that kind of nature in any other kind of God. Whether people worship trees, or they worship idols, or they are Buddhists or whatever, it's so different from Christianity. So I'm only referring to Christianity as the religion in this video, okay? Oh my, we should use the term that binds all of us together. You know, this really sounds like a religion to me. It's a belief that there's no belief in God, right? But it's a belief. Like, humans have to believe in something. We are just made like that. I wonder by who? Wishing that there was an afterlife or a creator God or a specific God doesn't mean you're not an atheist. Okay, interesting. That makes me think though, why are you wishing for an afterlife? Doesn't it boggle your mind that you as an organism, like you happen to become a human species of intelligence, doesn't it boggle your mind that you even have the wish for an afterlife? You who don't even know the origins of your life now have the ability to wish that after this one life, there's another life? Like, it boggles my mind. I've said that phrase so many times, but it does. That we have these innate, amazing universes within us that think so deeply. And to me, it all points to God. It's not my crutch, okay? I'm so sick of people saying that's like a crutch Christians use to explain away everything. Well, I admit that we do not know a lot of things, but that's the whole point. We don't know everything. Also, how can you say you know there is a God? Because I have a relationship with him. What more can I tell you? When two people are in love, it's very hard for them to explain to anyone else why they love each other. Because it's a combination of so many real moments that they experience between themselves that don't create the same emotions in other people. So it's extremely hard to explain, and extremely hard to explain my relationship about God, with God, to you also. This paragraph is basically telling me that some atheists exist who find it comforting to just daydream about an afterlife, maybe heaven, or maybe a place where they would meet their loved ones and beautiful things like that. And you know what I have found the more I explore God and who God is, I find that if we find something comforting, it's not a temporary satisfaction, but like a deep fulfillment kind of satisfaction, that thing is probably true. Let me just explain this in a simple way. Sometimes when I'm sick, I just kind of follow what my body craves to eat or drink. So if I'm having a cold, my throat wants warm water and it rejects cold water, and I found that that's a good instinct to have, to drink warm water and not cold water. So I'm trying to say, if you find it comforting to think of an afterlife, maybe it's true. Maybe it's because you were made to live beyond this life. Religion is a fairy story for people afraid of the dark. It's funny because the God I know, I fear. He is not someone who tolerates sin, and I am full of sin. So I fear him not in that he will destroy my life. I love him because he's given me grace and mercy in Jesus Christ. But he's not someone comforting to my sin, you know. My sinful nature and him don't go hand in hand. So my believing in God is a denial, a death to my human nature. And like, the Bible makes no manipulation over that. Jesus said, if you want to follow me, you have to take up your cross and carry it for the rest of your life. Like, that doesn't sound very fancy to me. That sounds nothing like a fairy tale to me. That sounds very painful. And you know what? It is very painful. But it is very fulfilling. I am so fulfilled because I'm doing what I am made to do. I'm worshiping God. You might be thinking now, this whole thing sounds so bad. Like, why would you choose to do that? Because, my friends, I found a God who loves me. And when you find true love, you don't mind doing whatever it takes to return that love or to continue basking in that love. You automatically love back and you automatically bind yourself to it. So it's coming with the cross, I'll take it. And Jesus said, this life is not forever. Your forever is in a place where the burdens of this earth are not there. So you're not going to be carrying around a cross in heaven. You know heaven. Beautiful, awesome place. So it's not that Christians come into a religion of slavery and have some kind of sadistic view of life. It's that we are working towards heaven. We are taking the price now, the cost now, we're paying it now. Very small cost because Jesus paid the big cost of the sacrifice he paid for our lives. That was a major cost. We're paying the tiny cost of just believing in Jesus. Forget obedience. That's not something we're good at. Just believing that Jesus died for us, and in that belief, being like him. Trying to be like him as to the best of our ability. Saying, God, I believe in you. Come help me live this life in the way you want me to live this life. That's what a Christian does. So they go through this life. I go through this life carrying this cross because I'm going to claim the final prize that I have, which is to be with God forever. The prize is just for a few years to get a forever with God. Like that verse that says, the small troubles we have now are nothing compared to the glory we will be receiving after. Okay, enough of preaching. Let's see some other statement. Dawkins says faith is evil, but at the same time he abolishes the categories of good and evil. If you're an atheist and you even begin the discussion of good and evil, then you have to ask, who decides what is moral and what is immoral? If you say, I do, like I know murder is bad, that kind of thing. Well, how do you know? How do you, an organism who just happened to be in existence, know what is good and what is not good? And what is good in the first place if nothing really has meaning or purpose? If the earth and humans don't really have an afterlife. say, if we're just atoms moving about, existing at the basis of things, how does this whole question of good and bad and all that come? I would say you definitely have to have some sort of standard for something to be called good and something to be called bad. And if you yourself have a standard, the Bible has an answer to that. It says that God has written His law on the hearts of His creation, referring to our conscience. So we have this inherent knowledge of what's good and what's bad. Like a baby does something wrong and hides without anyone telling them what they did was wrong, because they have that instinctive conscience of, I don't want anyone to see what I'm doing right now because they're not gonna like it. Those things, to me, it points to a moral lawgiver, someone who has made some things as good things and has said that these things are not good, they are evil things, they are immoral things, and we are all kind of following it. Now, if you are an atheist who rejects all of this good and bad stuff, that gives us a very chaotic situation where anyone can do anything. Take things to the extreme. What are these dust particles? I just suddenly had this picture of this dust evolving into a frog, and that evolving into something else, and that evolving into something else, and suddenly another human standing next to me. Hi, evolved human. Wow. That's pretty imaginative, I have to say. That's a real work of extreme intelligence. I'll give you that. Sometimes I like to see science and God correlate. When God parted the Red Sea for Moses, it says that a wind blew over the sea the whole night, and then they walked through. Like, it wasn't an immediate thing. So you can scientifically maybe explain that, like, because of the wind, scientifically there was a parting made. So sometimes I like to see a scientific explanation, and maybe there is a scientific explanation for evolution. I know there are scientific proofs of evolution, but I also know that there's not full proof of evolution in what people believe as evolution today. So, I mean, if you're gonna believe something, both take faith. Evolution takes faith to believe in because there are holes in the theory of evolution and the proof found in evolution, and God also takes faith to believe in because you cannot really prove everything. So you just have to choose, you know. I was reading The Case for Christ. I don't know if he was an atheist, but he definitely didn't believe in God. Beautiful movie on this also. And in trying to disprove God, all he found was evidence upon evidence upon evidence. I encourage atheists, please see that movie. You may not end up believing in God, but you'll see that there's considerable proof in the way that you see proof for your history books. For any reliable book that is written beyond your time, the Bible has more proof than those books. It's incredible. It's amazing. Now, how I am a theist, how I'm a Christian is, I will admit, is out of personal experience mainly. Some people might see that as a weakness, and some people might see that as a strength. How is it a weakness, you might ask? Because emotions, right? Emotions are supposed to make you weak and liable. But what is marriage between a couple if you don't feel something for each other, if you don't feel love? These are things that really make a couple go out of their way. Why am I talking about marriage? I don't know, but it's something beautiful, it's something unquantifiable, and I just think that relationships have a lot of things that are unseen in them. So it's a great example. So yes, a lot of my faith is based on personal experience, but I also have other kinds of proof in the Bible. My friends, when I read the Bible, it just confirms everything I already know. It's like my brother Vihan, who's sitting here listening to me. He is a genius, okay? Some of you know him. I didn't understand a lot of the genius in him for a long time, but the more I look up geniuses, the more things match, and it just explains everything. And that's what I find with the Bible. You might not think that the Bible is proof, but for me to read eyewitness accounts from people who have lived like 2,000 and more years before me, that match my experience, is incredible. For me, it's proof. For me to meet people from all over India, from outside India, having experiences similar to mine, getting revelations from God similar to mine, having an experience of the relationship with Christ similar to mine, is for me proof that this is all real, that theism is real. I shouldn't say theism is real, that God exists. I wonder if there are atheists watching this video. If you have faced hatred from Christians, that really upsets me when I see Christians kind of putting down those who don't believe or who have a lack of faith. That's not Christ. Please don't become an atheist or get solidified in your rejection of God because of a Christian. That is the worst thing you can do. It's like saying, I hate math because my math teacher was bad. A lot of us hate math because of that. But math in itself is something that it exists. Whether we like it or not, it exists in this world. You might discover new formulas of math, but that doesn't mean that the truth behind those formulas didn't already exist. And it's the same with God. I don't make up something about God. I don't imagine something about God. I just discover something about God who already lives. Right? We were talking about morality, right? Yeah, if you're a person who says, I'm gonna do what I feel is right, you do what you feel is right, I'm sure we're not gonna murder each other, we're just gonna have slight differences. Okay, fine. So maybe you one day saw money on the road and you picked it up, put it in your pocket and thought nothing wrong of it. But another day, if you dropped money and you happen to see a little too late someone taking that money and going away, wouldn't you imagine yourself feeling anger and like cheated? And where does all that come from? You know, that's a very complex thing, and I believe that points to a God who has those standards and that nature of holiness which He's asking us to follow. Now, yeah, it's fascinating that we have a desire to, not hurt people. We have a desire to be good and all that, but we typically choose to just follow what we want. Like, we might want to be on a diet, but we choose to eat this high-calorie chocolate cake. I know it's not very healthy to eat a lot of junk food, and I do so. Even if we want something, we know it's good, and we desire to be good, we tend to choose something not good for us. That's fascinating. But that's why in the faith I believe Jesus came to this earth, because we've just become that kind of creatures who just choose the bad stuff. And Jesus said, I just want you to believe in me. I'm gonna take the penalty of your sin. I'm gonna die on the cross for you, and I forgive you wholeheartedly, and I am offering you eternal life if you'll just believe in me. Wow, I talked my card out. That is very rare for me to do just one video and talk a card out. Just one more claim before I close. One of the claims was there's no evidence for God. And I will give you my personal evidence. I was a very shy child and teenager, and now I make videos talking about God and taking on very controversial topics that can potentially anger a lot of people, and I am not scared. And you can see I evolved into this creature, but I know the answer is I am transformed because of the life of Christ that is living right now, presently, actively. Christ living in me and through me. I know that's freaky for you to hear, but that's the truth. Take it or leave it. My name is Vihan Damaris. I'm so glad you stayed with me to the end of this video. It's a long video, I'm guessing. It's a very long video, it must be. God help me edit. But thank you for checking it out, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, always try to be like Jesus.